rounds for applause. She is from Kundalini Yoga. Yeah.
Okay, so it was April 6, 2012, my 32nd birthday, and it was the last time that I would feel my husband's embrace. He was a sergeant in the United States Army, and I was seeing him off at the Denver airport for deployment in Afghanistan. And on the way home, it was as if the universe whispered to me, as I was grappling with the question, how am I going to manage the next 9 months? I am now, for all intents and purposes, a single mother of 3 children, one who's just 1.5 years old. And the universe just responds back with the word yoga. Now, for 2 years, my best friend back home in the state of Michigan has been subtly suggesting that I go try out a yoga class, and for 2 years, I have been telling her it's just not for me. But in this moment, I feel that this is what I need to do. This is how I'm going to get through it. It's almost as if I had a premonition as what was going to happen. And so I find Core Power Yoga, and I start attending 2 classes a week and then more. And 2 months into his deployment, I talk to him on the phone and tell him that I want to enroll in the teacher training program because I like the way I feel. I like what it's doing in my life. For 2+ years now, I had been struggling with major depression and anxiety disorder, and nothing was working, not long term. But yoga, when I started to practice the breathing techniques and moving my body in the manner I was, helped me settle into who I was and start to embrace who I was. And he could tell, he could hear through my voice in those phone calls that for the first time since he had known me, which had only been 3 years that we were together, that I caught a glimpse of my divine essence, my true being. And so he encouraged me. He encouraged me to do this training. A month later, I'm on vacation in Michigan, and I get that knock on the door that every military spouse hopes they never hear. There are 2 United States Army officers standing on my mother's doorstep in their dress uniform. And for a moment, I'm confused. See, I was in the military myself, and I assisted with these types of things. I knew what was about to happen, and I stepped into a state of denial immediately. Time begins to blur and warp. And I really don't remember how long it was before getting that knock on the door to that moment where I blew out of my mother's house and ran down the street, almost quite literally, to a yoga studio that I had found when I had went to go visit my mother and wanted to continue my practice. I was crumbling under the weight of my grief, and my depression had welled up and consumed me. I was in a very dark place. I couldn't even bear to hold our son. And I got to this class, and it was the first time I felt like I took an inhale since getting the notification. And it was this community, these yoga teachers, and this practice that brought me back to life. It's the work that I've been able to do through these modalities of yoga that I've been able to rebuild my life and show up as a mother for my children and open myself to love again. And so, fast forward to the present moment, I find myself having not only 2 weeks ago opened up my own space, this small, humble space, because all of the transformations that have occurred in my life everything that my yoga practice has done for me, I feel like I have no choice but to share this practice with my community, to help others find a way back to who they really are, to experience the true essence of their identity, which is love itself. And so I stand before you today as a survivor, and I owe my life to yoga.